Hey guys, welcome to Relentless Renegade. As you can see, I am not a young woman. I was told that I should start my channel with the best face possible, the best clothes, the best hair, everything. But we're a renegade. We don't do anything because we're over 40. I can do whatever I want. And one of the main purposes of this channel is for me to have fun, to meet new people, whatever. As you can see, I have all the signs of being over 40 years old. I turned 50 last year and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I put on a bunch of weight. I started getting this. And then the wrinkles came in, all the stuff you don't want. So I'm going to take off my glasses. I'm going to try to get in close to show you some of the problems that I deal with. And over the course of videos that I put out, I'm going to tell you how to get around some of these so that you look magically preserved. Now my skin's pretty good for my age, and that's going to be a subject for a completely different video. But even as well preserved as it is, it's not quite right. And I'll show you. Now I'm going to take my glasses off because I'm blind as a bat without my glasses. So that, and I also wear hearing aids, which I don't have on right now. And again, I'll show you tips and tricks to make these not make you look older. So I'm going to get in real close right here. And as you can see, I have rosacea. It's pretty clear. I also have oily skin. You can see it all over. I sweat profusely. I have broken capillaries. I also have vitiligo. Now it's mostly noticeable on this side, but on the above of my lip, around here, I have a big patch, and here, and I have no pigment there anymore. So if I go in the sun, those will stand out like strobe lights. I have the bags that y'all know. If you're my age or any age, don't get enough sleep, you know what that looks like. But the veins that come through. But then there's melasma. So melasma will give me these dark patches. I used to have one that striped across my face like this. People would think I had cancer, or they would try to come up and wash it off. So I had to use skin bleaches, but I didn't like that. It was very painful. It just stank. It dried out my skin. It was awful. So in other videos, I'll teach you how to deal with some of these issues. But as you can see, for my age, although I have a lot of discoloration, it's not the perky face, I'm going to show you how to disguise this. And it really is just a matter of coloring that makes you look older. There's a few things to do and to not do. First of all, powder as you get older. A lot of people will avoid it because they think it'll make them look really old. That's not the case. So it's how much you put on and what kind you use. If you really put it on like all these pretty young things around, and they do what's called baking. So they'll put their foundation on and they'll bake this powder in, a ton of powder, and then whisk it away with a brush. I find for me and anybody with any wrinkles of any kind, you're just asking for, you're gonna look like someone took a pizza dough and flour and just went smack right in your face. Smack right in your face. Just went smack right in your face. And we're back. So the first thing you're gonna need is a little sponge like this. Moisten it, get a paper towel, squeeze it. You can use big beauty blenders, you could use your fingers. But the sponge is a little bit better to get into spots that you don't want. Now, if you don't want to use foundation, you can use a powder foundation, but you have to dampen one of these and use it very lightly. Because if you don't, just throw out that tissue, it's going to look like crap. I'm just telling you, So I'm going to be using a foundation. It's really light, and I hate foundation. I hate anything greasy, oily, anything like that. It just, bleh. So it's horrible. So I'm using, let's see if I can get it to focus here. Oh, I got too much light coming in today. It's the Ordinary's Serum Foundation. Now this stuff is, it's so beautiful. Whoever came up with this, I really want to give them like, a million kudos. I didn't open the bottle. Shit. Okay, so now it's open. Give it a shake. You know, because sometimes I just don't pay attention to what I'm doing. I should. Now, a lot of people put it on the back of their hand and then tap from there. And I just don't bother because really, it's still not open. Uh-oh. I broke it. Okay, I think we're okay now. It's not working. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it comes out. God, I got way too much light in here. I have to pull down my shade a little bit. So like, there we go. Okay, so it's a very, you can see how it runs. Okay, so I'm going to put 2 pumps on there, and I'm just going to very lightly touch the spots. I really want to get rid of the coloring. I just want to cancel it out. And now I'm just going to blend and tap that in. And if you need more, get more. But this stuff feels like there's absolutely nothing on your face. I couldn't believe it when I tried it. I thought that just can't be possible. That's BS. But the reality is, it really, really works. I'm just blown away. It feels like nothing is on. Like it just taps some water into my face. Now, of course, I gotta pull this shade back up a bit. So I need a little more light so I can see what the hell I'm doing, kids. You know, I'm an old biddy. And my eyesight isn't too great. I'm doing this at you. At you. So that's actually not too bad. So I'm going to use another little squirt, just that one little bit, and I'm going to bend the sponge over to kind of work it into the sponge so it's not like a big gloppy blob. And I'm going to go around the edge so I can blend this out to make, and on the ear, oh my God, don't forget that part, ladies and gentlemen. You will look like a mannequin. Absolutely. Then just press into your eyebrow bone. And just keep blending. Make sure to go up into the hairline. And this stuff really moves. Like it's liquidy and it stays in the sponge. That's why I don't like using it on the back of my hand. I can actually get way better coverage. Go down your neck. Remember in the 80s, they used to have that. Don't do that. Just don't do it. Now this look is not so that you look spectacular for an evening out, though you could wear it for that. This is just, I want to go to the grocery store and I don't want to look like death on a platter, okay? So, as we know, that's probably the worst thing ever. Okay, so you keep patting and blending, and now I got to check, let me get a hand mirror because I said I'm blind. So if you don't have one of these, get one that has a ridiculous magnifying mirror on one side, because when you go in to do tiny stuff, oh wow, like the light in this camera, the coverage is friggin' insane. So I'm going to take the camera here in a second and see if I can get a better picture. And this is light coverage. So from before, so let me see if I can, camera won't come out. It has a nice sheen and it's very light. You don't want to hide every imperfection on your face. That's like the last thing you want to do. So I think, and also I just realized I'm not actually looking at the camera, so it doesn't look like I'm looking at you. I'm like looking at myself in here because I'm using you as a mirror. You know, you're my mirror to my soul. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do, and that's okay, I'm old, I don't care. So the next thing I'm gonna use is I'm gonna use some powder. Okay, I just floured myself, okay? This is my life here, people. So I didn't realize that I'm an idiot, but you know, this happens. Let me pause and fix this powder. All right, I fixed the problem. So what I'm using is a Clean Color HD translucent setting powder. Okay, this is $1. $1. I told you it'd be cheap. I told you. My kid's gonna come home and think I was baking muffins in my bedroom. Well, I could have been. Who knows? Also, I'm using a kit of brushes that I got on Amazon. It was about $10, $10. So if you're not like a makeup guru and it can get crazy. Like use brush number 832. I just can't be bothered with that because most of the time my cats or my dog find my brushes and they'll end up in horrible shape. So I'm going to put the lid back on. God help me. God help me. This could be bad. And just tap it twice. Did any come out? Yes. I'm going to swirl, and tap it off. See how little powder there is on there? Now I'm just going to go right in the T-zone where everything's all frickin' shiny. It looks terrible sometimes, especially when you're older. It looks absolutely horrible. You end up where your face is dry, right? You have wrinkles, but you're also oily. And people will tell you a little bit more. I think I need just a little bit because I'm shining. Right, there we go. Now I'm gonna let that sit a minute. So if you go into like any beauty store or, Lord & Taylor makeup counter or whatever, they're good and they try to help you. Like they see what your problems are. And my eye is watering. Stop watering eye. They'll try to help you with the best that they can, but the problem is there's this misconception that older people don't have oily skin. I'm just gonna try to get back in frame here, guys. So there's this misconception that older people don't have oily skin, that it's always dry and needs to be super moisturized. And this is a big misnomer. It's really not true. I have very oily skin, and especially when menopause, okay? So you start sweating everywhere you go. So you're forever like just oily, wet, damp. You just want to get rid of that because that shows off actually how old you are. And if more people knew about that, they'd do more to try to conceal that or get it to go down. So in another video, I'll show you some of the tips for keeping that down. All right, now that that's been on a minute, I'm just gonna flick that all off. That's it. So now I've got a nice face going. So I wanna look like I'm wearing no makeup. I just wanna look like I rolled out of bed like this. So the first thing I'm gonna do, first I have to find the brush I want because I'm blind as a bat. Yeah, give me a second. Give me a second. Where is that brush I want? Oh, here it is. Okay. So it's a little bitty brush right here. I forget where my camera is. It's over here? Yeah. Okay. So I got to look over here. So if I'm not looking over there, just, down in the comments, just, smack an old hag. What can I tell you? So you're going to get this little brush, and you're going to find, I have an Amuse eyeshadow palette, $1. So you're going to find one in there that kind of matches your eyebrow, and this is it, okay, for me. Now you're also going to want to, when you have it, you're going to want to try to find an eyeshadow that matches the natural tone of your eye, and for me, it's that one. Okay, there's many different palettes, and you could find one for this. Okay, so in this, it's this one here. So I'm going to put some of the shadow on there, not too much. Now, one of the things that can make us look extremely old, and especially if you grew up in the 70s. Now, I was born in 68, so I didn't really go through this phase, but there was this real trend to pluck your eyebrows super thin and just pluck and pluck and pluck, and then the hair doesn't grow back. And so when the trend for bigger, more voluptuous eyebrows came in, you couldn't have them. You just couldn't have them. So I was lucky. I couldn't stand plucking my eyebrows. So I've always razored them, and they always come back. So um, if you're lacking an eyebrow, there are plenty of stencils on the market. They usually come, I think I have one. Give me a second. They're usually not too expensive. Yeah, here we go. So they look like this, and you put it on your eyebrows, and you can actually take this and use that as a guide for eyebrows. You can try it you're going to have to try it several times to get the right shape for you. Now, I am not blessed with good eyebrows. They're thick, but they're uneven. So one brow, and this is not about coloring or shaping or anything. It's just the way my natural brows are. Probably because I'm always looking at people like all the time. So over time, I've damaged that. Like, my skin wants to do that. So you're just going to take the color that matches your brow, and you're going to have spots that are like, I've got so many like spots, especially here and near the tail. Now, you don't want to like paint on a brow because you're trying to look like you don't have any makeup on. So you're just going to just touch where you're missing some pigment, okay? Just that. And then I'm going to get a little more of this stuff. Hopefully I'm getting it right. Am I getting it? Oh no, I put the wrong shade on. Hold on. You know, I would have had like black eyebrows. That would be tasty, right? So you're going to go in on the other one. And again, I need the mirror because I can't see worth a damn. And just very lightly fill in those spots that are kind of like sparse or naked. Now, if you have really thin brows, I mean, I'm no expert on this, but eyebrow tattooing, I know a few people who've had it done. It looks really natural, but get a good tattoo artist. Like, don't screw around. Don't. You do not want to be looking like, eek. No. Okay. So as you can see, I've filled in my brows, and it changed the way my face looked like that. It instantly makes you look younger. When you're missing eyebrows, or your eyebrows are too see-through and transparent, or like wire thin, you look old. You look very dated. You look like you just came off a roller rink or a disco in the 70s, and it can place you almost your date of birth. So you want to be able to keep up with the latest eyebrow trends. It's going to help you the most. So now I'm going to take, where are you? An eyeshadow brush. No particular order. I probably have tons of eyeshadow on this already. Doesn't matter. I'm not picky. So I'm going to go into that shade that matches. I'm on the wrong side. See, I'm going to do it again. I paint my eye different color. This one matches the shade, the natural color of my eyelid. But what it's going to do, and make sure that whatever color you're using for your eyebrows and your face doesn't have any shimmer in it, because you're going to be called out for a faker. So you're going to just paint this all over the lid. Now I'm going to do a little more, and you're going to see and go right into this corner. Now, I didn't use concealer today because, to be frank, I forgot it. It's in the drawer. I forgot to put it on. Shh, don't tell anybody. But it won't really matter. So remember, I'm going for a natural look. So I'm not sure if you can see the difference in my eyes from the shadow. I'm going to pick up a small mirror so that I can be sure that I am doing that. Yep. So I need more. So keep checking in the mirror. You don't want too much on so it looks like you're wearing actual eyeshadow. What you're trying to do is just give the illusion that you just have, that's better, that you have a much more defined eye. You're not doing the socket. You're going to go out to about where your eyebrow meets here. But if you go out a little further, it's okay, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. I know everything's in a minute with me. In a minute. Sound like my kids. In a minute, Mom. All right. So now, same with the other eye. So I'm going to go in, color all the way to the brow bone. flip it over, get some color off. Go right into that center. This is where we normally have a lot of discoloration and darkness. So you want to get that completely covered. But not so heavy. You want it to match. You want this to match, like it looks like I have no eyeshadow on. That's the point. So if you're looking and it's like, ooh, you know, I can see that, stay away. Stay that away. Matte eyeshadow only, please. Now, in this palette, there's a lighter shade right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a much smaller brush, a little tiny brush like this, and I'm going to take some of that and just right up the side of my nose. Put some more so you can see that better. Can you see the difference between the two eyes? This one now looks way more awake than the other one, and it's because that dark color there, it's not our friend. I happen to have discomfort, like my brow bun is so severe. I had my DNA done, and they tell me I'm part Neanderthal, and I believe it because my brow hangs over. So in this, with a lot of makeup, you'd want to highlight your brow bone, that type of stuff. Don't do it. Now that light color, you're going to, again, take that, and you're not going to put it on your eye bag at all. Don't do that. It's going to just say, hi, here's my eye bag. So you're going to look and see the shadow that it creates right here. I'll put that lighter shade right in there. And you'll watch it start to disappear. And this one's good because it has a little bit of a yellow base in it. So it'll take care of that. And as you can see, that eye bag is just, it's just going away. It just absolutely works. Right from there, and the shadow that the bag creates. So it's the same on the other eye. Now I'll tell you, because I'm not one to take credit for this. This eye bag tip. So when I look up, my God, I have no eye bag. This came from Wayne Goss. I love that man. He really knows his shit. And this trick, once I learned it, I've never gone back. So now I have, up close, I have a lot of yellow here. I'm going to leave that for a bit because I'm sweating a little bit and my makeup's still setting, so I'm going to leave that alone for the moment. Depending on what the color is, if it's blue or whatever under your eyes, definitely try to find a shade. Now, you could pick one, you know, there's these color wheels and what's your skin tone, whatever, but the undertones in your skin could be from blood vessels or whatever. You have no idea. The best way to go is to go into a store and try it. Does it work? Go in with your bare face, be happy. So I'm done with, I'm not done with the eyeshadow. I lied. I gotta stop that crap. Sweat a lot. So I'm not, because I'm going for a natural look, I'm not trying to hide my double chin or anything. I just want to look like I just rolled out of bed like this. My face always looks like this. It's a lie. So now that I've let that sit for a minute, I'm going to go back to my brush. Flick it off. Now the best part about all of this is that I can't feel it. It doesn't feel like makeup. And I forgot before, and I should have done this before I colored my eyebrows, but you know, I'm an idiot. Okay. Now a nifty trick. So you don't want to wear mascara because the minute you do, it'll clump, especially, look, I ain't got no lashes, okay? Some people have gorgeous lashes. One of my daughters has them. I want to rip them off her and put them on. I tell her all the time, and she's like, I don't know where she got them from, mailman perhaps. So anyway, I want to make my lash line look thicker. And this is one of those, it's like your eyebrows. The minute you do it, you're going to seem younger because youth comes in those like really dark lashes. So I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to dust this off. It's not really professional, but I'm going to take my little brush like this. And I'm going to use a different palette by Amuse, because this one doesn't have a dark enough brown. So you don't want eyeliner, you don't want anything like that, because that'll give you away. So here I am. I've got all of these. Okay, so the brown I want is right there, right next to the black. So it's a rusty brown. Your instinct is going to be to go for like a pot brown, like the cake mascara browns. Don't. So you're going to go in and try to do this because I'm blind as a bat. And you're going to press the shadow into your lash line. Right where the roots are. Ooh, just stab myself in the eye. Try not to do that. I look lovely now. I had pneumonia recently, so please. So can you see the difference? Mm-hmm. Yaha. So I'm going to do the other one. Try not to stick it in my eye this time. My eyes are going to water. Bitch. So what that does is it gives you the illusion of having thicker lashes without having done anything. Now, just to make sure that people can actually see you have an eyelash, where'd I put it? You know, I'm telling you today, kids. I'm telling you. What'd I do with it? I know I took it out. Clear mascara. So this will just define what you've got. Just a little bit. So if anybody comes up really close, it's clear that you have no mascara on, but yet you have these nice thick lashes. It's a lie, but they won't know. Huh. It's our secret. Okay. Now for some blush. Now I have this one. Again, $1. You want the faintest matte blush you can get. You're just going to put a little bit on a brush. Tap the excess off. And just right here. Now, as I said, the eyeshadow doesn't matter because I'm going to take this big fat brush here, the wedge shape. Just pull it along. Okay. Now the last thing I recommend, it's very simple, just some lip balm. Now if your lips don't have any color to them, at this point, you can put on, now this one has a sunscreen in it, so it makes my lips look a little frosty, but most people are accustomed to that because I use this all the time. You know, they know it's my sunscreen lip gloss, but I happen to have, at least in my opinion, I have nicely colored lips. So they're small, but they're colored, they're fine, okay? If you don't, if they're really pale, Put lip balm on and then take some of your blush and tap it between the two and do that. And the blush should match your skin tone and be really light. Now the last thing I'm going to use is a bit of highlighter and a mousse. If you use a lot of highlighter, the jig is up. You're going to look like death. People will call you out if you say, this is my natural beauty. So what I'm going to do is right here, I've only done this much. I'm just going to tap. On the other side, a little bit, tap it off. So I just put a little highlight there, just a little bit. And to take the brush, I put my translucent powder on. I'm going to flick it. I know, I keep looking to the side because I keep thinking my camera's on that side. I know I'm dumb. Just deal with it. Deal. And that's it for this look. Now, my hair, of course, is a wreck because it's been a towel since I showered. So it dried in the shape of the towel. But I like doing that because it gives my hair some actual volume. I have graying hair, it's mostly gray, different colors of gray. I've been fortunate in that a lot of it's white. But as you can see, I look like I have nothing on. My eyebrows are barely different than they were before. Everything is barely different. So that's the whole idea, is you want to get into this makeup look is simply just about, man, my lighting, it sucks. So let me see if I could stand up and get, oh, I don't know if that's any better either. Oh my God. So I'm going to go over to a different window where I have even better lighting. And as you can see, it just looks like there's no difference between my neck and my face. Ooh, I should turn it that way. My neck and my face. Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to have that because I have really high cheekbones. So every time but you're trying to just make it look like this is me. I just rolled out of bed like this. In future episodes, I hope there's future episodes, but in future episodes, I'm going to do more fabulous looks for nighttime, and products to use that are a lot better than what you might be using. If you're, spending tons of money on trying to look really young, you're wasting your time, really, because well, I could get into all of that, but you don't want to know that. You don't want to know that. You're like, lady, I just want to know how to look young. I'll help you. I'll help you. Have a good day, guys. I'll see you the next time. Bye, darlings. And of course, as I finish, I find, ding, clear mascara. Bastard.